All right, guys, the injuries from the game. Breida ankle sprain, same ankle, different sprain. He'll be out this week. Tartt stinger, same shoulder. He'll be out this week. Moore had a jaw sprain. He got back in the game. Tomlinson, hip contusion. He'll be day-to-day. Dakota Watson, torn calf. We'll put him on IR later today or tomorrow. And Jeff Wilson, foot inflammation. He'll be day-to-day. Guys who missed the game, DJ Reed, expect to get him back this week. And we'll recheck Pierre and Garnett on Wednesday to see where they're at. Goodwin was here today at the meetings and stuff, so I'm sure he'll address you guys later in the week, but expect to have him back.
Just looking at the film, Kyle, what jumped out at you that was probably the most frustrating or most alarming?
The way we started out was tough. I thought it took our offense about a quarter before we settled down. I didn't feel we really settled down till one play in particular. I think it was the beginning of the second quarter. Blocked the play up pretty well. Jeff Wilson got through there and ran over their middle third safety. And I felt that kind of loosened everyone up a little bit. Went right down after that. We ended up getting that fumble on the 3-yard line, which I definitely don't think was a fumble, but kind of lost some momentum right there. But it was tough getting a little bit late start, which was a little bit frustrating, but a lot of times expected in that building. It's happened to me before on teams I've been on. And just the way the score got, coming out in the second half, we had the fumble that they got. Our defense, for some reason, they didn't start on the 3. They got at the 14, but our defense did stop them. And punted, went 3 and out. But the next punt, thought we had a chance to turn it around. It was 13-0 at the time, fumbled that punt. They went down, made it 20-0 right before the half. Fortunately, we were able to get 3 to make it 20-3, but then the way we started the third quarter, just a kick return that was 84 yards and then scoring on the next run. I thought we had a chance to be in a 13-10 type of game, and 3 plays, it's about 3 plays difference, and it's 27-3.
Obviously had a big jump in snaps from last week to this week. What did you see kind of towards the end of the game from him? Did he look like he was still playing it?
Yeah, Jeff played very well. He earned that last week how he played, but it got stronger, especially what happened to Breida in pregame warmups. We were going to give Jeff a lot anyways, but we knew Breida was struggling in pregame. Then it got worse as the game went. So Jeff also got hurt in the game too, though. He had to leave and go to the locker room for a little bit. But it was good to see him. We all know he played well, but it was good to see him bounce back and play through some stuff that was bothering him also.
Down this week at all, his foot strength?
I hope not. We'll see. I know he was sore today, and I know he's listed as day-to-day. Expect to have him, but we'll see how his body reacts on Wednesday.
What are his strengths as a running back?
He hits the hole and runs hard. I think he's a very good zone runner. He doesn't mess around. He sets his track, and when he sees an open gap, he puts his foot down and goes north and south.
What do you need to prove to you this year? I mean, you guys were light on running backs at various points, but never called his number until recently. What was missing in his game that you needed to see from him?
It just takes time, just the inconsistency. And it happens a lot with rookies. You see it. You see it in practice all the time. You can see it a little bit when we put them in the preseason games, but that was a little bit ago. And just everything. You never know if it's going to be a run play or a pass play. Not as much going to the run plays, but a lot goes more into the pass plays, which is your responsibilities and things like that. So it does take time. And then what you can do on special teams also. If you're not getting up as the first guy, you got to have a role on special teams. And he's been working to do that, but it's taken him time to get ready for that. And, we were hoping he was there a few weeks ago when Raheem went down, and he wasn't quite ready. But I think his urgency changed a lot after that week, and he came back after that bye week. The urgency went way up, and the results showed in practice, and it carried over to the game.
Was he a guy Bobby Turner found before the draft?
What's that?
Was he a guy that Bobby Turner identified before the draft?
I don't remember who specifically identified him, but I know we all watch him. Whether it was personnel department who found him, they usually give us a big list of people, and then Bobby always goes through them. So does Mike McDaniel. So does everyone in our personnel department, and then myself and John included. So I don't remember who found him, but we liked him.
I think coming out, there were questions about ball security with him. How do you weigh, when you're evaluating somebody like that, how do you weigh those ball security issues with everything else he brings to the table?
It's a big deal. I mean, if no matter how good of a back you are, if you keep fumbling, you're not going to play. I mean, it's the same as people who touch the ball. I mean, no matter what, if you turn the ball over too much, you can't do it. So it's always a concern. And I know he battled some injuries this last year too. That's also stuff you see where you can get guys where guys are going to be available. We liked Breida a lot the year before, and we thought he was a draftable guy. But you look at some of his numbers and size, and thought maybe other people wouldn't see him that way. And so you think you can get him as a free agent. If there's a guy you're not sure about, that happened with us with Alfred Morris in Washington. I think his team was 1-11. The team he was on didn't get much hype or anything, so we thought he might go around that 7th, 6th round. But then you wait to see, do you want to wait for the undrafted and get someone else, or you afraid you're going to lose them, so you use that pick. So there's a lot to balance there in the end, but you always have your targets, and if you could get everyone in free agency, you'd much rather do that, but it's always a gamble.
With Garcon, usually if a guy can play, he does play, or he goes on IR. Well, why is his situation unique?
Last week, we lost Marquise. He wasn't out there. So we had 4 receivers out there dressing and things like that. Pierre's in a situation where he's ready to play on game day. He'll do the things necessary to get out there and play and stuff like that and tough it out for us. But I don't want to do that at the expense of someone else. Would put him on IR just to move forward, but didn't know Marquise's status the last couple of weeks. You have someone like Dante out there. He's 1 snap away from getting hurt. I hope Pierre's still available. And so we'll see where he is this week, see where the rest of our receivers are at, and try to make a decision. Similar things like Alfred. Alfred hasn't dressed the last couple of weeks. People might say, why don't you bring someone else on the roster or something like that? Well, we almost lost 2 backs yesterday. So things change a lot, and you need those options because they're hard to find at this time.
Does Pierre want to play?
Yeah, he does.
Dante can play the X position. If both he and Goodwin are back, is he yet available to play Z? I mean, is he well versed enough to step in there?
Yeah, he has done it some games. Dante's done all 3 this year. That's why. We've had to change him around almost each week. That's why this was the first week where all the guys got to stay at the same spots. But Dante has the skill set to do all 3 of them, and Keith. We prefer him outside the numbers, but he can go inside too. So, and he knows the offense well enough that if Keith gets back this week, we have some options with him too.
Dante was saying after the game that part of his reason he's done so well the last couple of games is talks with you that you challenged him. Is that something that you did during games and meetings, one-on-one chats, texts?
Everything except texts, team meetings, one-on-one meetings. Everything. So it's and Dante's got a lot of talent. I think you guys just asked about Jeff Wilson. What took so long? And these guys are straight out of college and they've had a lot of success their whole life. And sometimes it takes some time to be ready for the NFL. And I thought Dante came out pretty ready. I always want them further along than they are. But when he had that injury, I thought he got set back a lot. And sometimes Dante works hard, but sometimes guys got to learn how urgent the NFL is. And it's not a lack of him not knowing, it's just a lack of experience. And that's sometimes some things a lot of rookies go through, and usually they learn it. And if they're talented enough and work hard, they have a good career. And some of those guys who don't learn and never have that urgency, they miss their window and people move on. And so I've been definitely riding the heck out of Dante because we believe in him a lot. We know he has a lot of ability. And I've told him the last couple of weeks he's taken a huge step forward, but don't get that confused with you've arrived. It's just a couple steps forward.
Kind of in that same grain, Tarvarius Moore, he only had a few snaps for the defense. He played more special teams. But what are you waiting to see from him to get him more defensive snaps?
I would like to right now, but there's only 2 corners out there, so we'd have to sit down one of the other 2, and we don't think that's been right here the last few weeks. We've had a couple of packages in to get him out there, and some dime packages, which he's done. Ended up missing some of that because he went out for a while during the game with his jaw situation, but he came back in and got a couple plays. He's really stepped it up on special teams this year. He's got to work through some stuff out there at corner. I'd like to get him that opportunity to work through it, just like Marcel got his opportunity yesterday. And I think Tarvarius will. I feel pretty strongly that he will, but we got to see how these next 4 games play out.
Aside from mentioned Harris, aside from some missed tackles, how do you think he played?
I think he played like it was one of his, first full games starting. He showed some potential and things like that, but he hadn't been in that situation where he's had to make that many tackles in a game for over a year. He didn't get to play his last year at Florida, so I thought he was a little bit rusty, but it was definitely expected. The game wasn't too big for him. He didn't turn it down. He didn't try to pull himself out. He kept going and kept shooting his guns and connected on some, but also missed on others. But he has the ability to be a good tackler, and he'll get better from playing. You just got to take some of the good with the bad as he works through that stuff, just kind of like we have with Dante the last couple of weeks too.
You're 3/4 of the way through the season. Your record is 2-10. You've suffered back-to-back blowout losses. How do you assess the job you've done so far this season?
I think you do that the best, but I don't like to totally grade myself. But I do as good as I can. I work as hard as I can. I take the situation that we have, and I try to get the most out of our players. And I don't, when you look at our record, and we're all extremely disappointed in that, definitely always feel like we should win more games than we have. But I'm going to sit and come to work every single day and be the same person I am when we have a bad record as when we have a very good record. I think you could ask our players that, ask people who work with us, and you guys can decide. But I don't really change. I do as good as I can every single day, and as long as I know that, I can live with myself.
With the last 2 weeks, the way it's gone, you just look at the scores and say, wow, things are kind of getting away, and they're playing out the string. Do you sense any of that, and how do you guard against maybe that happening?
I don't sense that. I sense that we didn't play our best. And I think when you go to a place like Seattle, you don't play as good as you can. You turn the ball over 3 times. They don't turn it over at all. They average 6 yards a carry. We average 3. That's probably what I'd guess the score is. And I watch people's effort and things like that is probably as hard as I would say anyone else in the world when it comes to our own team. And I watch every individual, and I look for that stuff harder than anybody. And I'll come in every Monday, and if there's someone who's shutting it down and not working, I have a responsibility to the other 10 guys on the field and the other 52 guys on the roster to not put them out there. And that's something we look for hard. I didn't see that with our guys. I saw guys play hard. Does that mean I'm happy with how we played? Not at all. But I don't see guys just turning it down and quitting. I see guys fighting, competing, and we didn't play good enough. We didn't coach good enough. And I think it's when you play a team like that, especially where we did. And I mean, the number one stat of all time is turnovers, and that was 3-0. And the next thing you can look at is rushing stats. And one thing that we've done good offensively this year is run the ball, and they stopped our run game. And we were able to get the pass game going a little bit, but a little bit too late.
On the 52-yard touchdown pass to Lockett, is the linebacker's responsibility to cover him all the way, or is he? What is the assignment? Is there supposed to be safety help coming to help him out?
There is, if the quarterback's looking that way. Safety in the middle of the field has got to cover a couple things. But that's the same question we got in Atlanta every time that would happen. The same question they get in Seattle every time that happens. The same one they get in Dallas, San Diego, and the 3 deep principles. There's a number of ways to run 3 deep, 4 under. How do you stop 4 verticals? Some people will carry it with the safety, cheat the others. Everyone in this system, you carry it with the weak side hook player, which sometimes puts a linebacker in a tough situation. And that does happen a couple times a year, and you've seen it. And you hope to get a pass rush on it, which makes it a lot harder. And you hope the quarterback's bad with his eyes where he isn't alone. But just like in any zone dog, a defensive end can have to cover a tight end. And if that ball doesn't get out, you'll see him one-on-one way down the field. But that's cover 3.
On the offsides, the defensive offsides where Elijah was coming in from the other side,
Yeah.
was that they set the ball, and you didn't have time to sub?
No, Fred Warner lost his shoe, and he was going to pick it up. And when he went to pick it up, Russell grabbed it and threw it. And so he had to go about 8 more yards to pick it up. And as he was doing that, they went hurry-up offense. And so we had a guy 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage trying to get a shoe that was thrown out of the way. They were at the line. Fred was going to be offsides because he was picking up a shoe that was thrown. And then when he saw that, Elijah tried to help him out and run on the field so he could get off. And that's why we got the penalty.
Some of the guys, after your unsportsmanlike conduct, they spoke about it afterwards and thought that it kind of got them a little fired up as well because they know you stand behind them 100%. Does that have any effect on what you think about?
I think they know that regardless, despite what I did. That was that was the icing on the cake right there. That was the tipping point, that penalty. But it was definitely a number of other ones from earlier that was a build-up, and I don't think I have to get a penalty or use the wrong language to earn their respect. So it wasn't a smart thing by me and something I can't do.
What can the refs do in that scenario with Fred and his shoe? Can they bump the play clock up or stop them from snapping the ball so quickly?
That's what I was trying to figure out, and especially when another guy on the opposing team threw it. And I'm not saying that he did that maliciously or anything. Who knows? But it was an unusual situation, and it was my tipping point.
What did the referee explain to you after that? In between the quarters, you were still talking to him about it.
Not much.
Did they go a couple more? Did they go hurry up at any other point in the game?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe they went hurry up a couple times.
Obviously, a lot of things have gone into 2 and 10 while you are what you are right now. But does it give you any pause or do you lose any confidence about the I guess big picture plan of what you guys want to accomplish and where you're going and how you're doing it?
No, I don't. I mean, I'd love it to be a lot more obvious and a lot easier. I'd love to be, we finished 6 and 10 last year, and I'd love to be improving from this year. I also know it was hard work to get to 6 and 10, especially starting 0 and 9. I think we came in this year with a franchise quarterback, and we lost him early in the season, which definitely makes that much harder. I didn't think. I think we came here knowing that it was going to take some time. I think the way we finished last year definitely excels everyone's feeling and what they thought, but by no means did I think we were coming into this year and it was just going to be easy. I knew it was going to be extremely hard, and the way it started off definitely made it a lot harder. And we've had some close ones that I believe we should have won. That's why I believe our record should be better than it is, but by no means just because our record isn't better than what it was last year, does that change how I feel? I mean, we did some good things at the end of last year. We've had a number of setbacks this year, but I think this is a necessary process and to where we are going to go and some of the tough decisions that we have to make going into year 3.
Before the bye, you challenge your players to come back focused and finish the season strong. After the past 2 games, are you concerned with the way are you disappointed with the way they responded to your challenge? Or?
No, we didn't play very well, so that doesn't go into just they didn't respond to my challenge. We haven't played. You have to play very good football to win games, and we haven't done that enough consistently in all 3 phases throughout the year. So there's magic words don't make people different. I want people to focus and worry about things that they control. And we got 4 games left. We know we're eliminated from the playoffs. So is this year over? This year has everything to do with, for me, about next year. Our personnel department, stuff like that, they'll be evaluating stuff that we'll look at as coaches once the season ends as far as the draft, free agency, possible trades. But right now, I'm evaluating the heck out of our team, our coaching staff, and we got 4 games here that are extremely important. There's a lot of tough decisions that we got to make at the end of this year, and how guys look, how guys play, how they act. I want to know who's going to be a part of helping us here and helping turning this around, and those decisions haven't been made yet, and they'll be very critical here over the next 4 weeks.
Delivered before the game the message to Jeff Wilson that he would have an increased role. Was that Bobby Turner, or did you speak with him?
No one did. I mean, I think he knew going into the week that he was going to have an increased role just because we were repping him a lot more, and we planned on going with it. And when you do that, you just kind of go with the hot hand as the game goes. And we still did start with Breida, and I'm not out of warm-ups. I can't see when he was warming up, how severe his ankle was. But I got word from our medical staff that he'd be good to go and stuff, so we definitely started with him. And he did decent on his first few runs, and then Jeff got in there and looked good, and we kept with the hot hand. And when Breida got back in there, there was one in particular on the screen that someone fell on his ankle and re-injured it in a different spot, which then made it easier.
It's not a high ankle sprain, is it?
No.
Last one, guys. About the alleged incident with the fan.
No, I didn't talk to him about it, but I heard about it today.
Did Nick do enough to retain his starting job?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.